That's the backdrop for our film tonight, starring John Voight. You can see that at 11:20. And first, we have a comedy special with Mr. Richard Digance.
Thank you very much, and nice to see you all, and thanks for tuning in. Yet another Abracadigance, and I mean that. I know lots of people say that, and it's corny in showbiz and all that, but these days you've got so much choice, do you know what I mean? Because not satisfied with our 4 tried and tested channels, us and B2 and Channel 4, etc., we're now being offered another load courtesy of satellite television. Anyone got one? Oh, well. There's such a choice if you want it, and like all sort of technology, it's sold on the basis of one-upmanship. If you haven't got one, you ain't trendy. Now, personally, I'm sick of being trendy. I thought I was trendy when I bought the 8-track stereo for my car. What a waste of money they were. Do you remember them things? Always see them in car boot sales. Have you noticed that? You do, don't you? Pyrex dishes, serving hatch, 8-track. I was trendy when I bought a quadraphonic system for my house. Waste of money. I was trendy when I bought a Betamax video recorder. Have you tried getting the tapes for them? I was trendy when I took up bridge. Till a lady asked if I wanted to share a few rubbers, and I told her to go and buy her own. Didn't look so trendy with a nosebleed, I'll tell you now. So with my track record, I'm not about to rush out and lob up 300 or 400 quid for some oversized plastic wok strapped to the side of my house. Even if they do pick up the minicabs better. Can you imagine if every flat in a huge tower block, you know, in East London, if they all had one? Wouldn't it look ridiculous? There'd be more brackets on that tower block than Barry Sheen's leg. Now, the makers would have us believe they are the status symbol of the 1990s in much the same way as the Filofax, you know, and the cell phone have been in the 80s. Mind you, when you see someone walking along carrying a Filofax in one hand and a phone glued to his ear with the other, do you think, there goes a trendy and discerning professional with his finger on the pulse? Do you? No, you think, what a prat. And that's why I'm not having a dish on the side of my house. Mind you, satellite television does offer a very attractive lineup. You look at some of the all-star names they've got. Norman Tebbit. Now, the real big problem, if you live on the coast, like I do now, is seagulls. Because they love nesting in the dishes. So if you ain't careful, you can get as much in your dish as you see on the screen. Of course, much as I'm resisting it, wasn't the letters for that, I'll have to give in the end. We all will. Do you know, in 30 years' time, we'll all be watching satellite television. I wonder what the news will look like then.
This is the Channel 49 News, brought to you by QuickFit for drive-in spare parts surgery.
Good evening. His Holiness Pope Luigi I has landed in Britain. His seaplane dramatically splashed down on Lake Windermere just over 2 hours ago, but there was a slight setback, however, when His Holiness attempted to kiss the runway as usual and was bitten on the conch by a 12-pound pike.
The first British one-way shuttle to outer space blasted off this afternoon from Stansted Space Centre. Its crew of compulsory astronauts, selected by public referendum, were Jimmy Knapp, an ageing Scottish club act, the Force's sweetheart from World War III, Kylie Minogue, and her live-in lover, Skippy. The final place went to that granddandy of magic, Paul Daniels, who'll be sadly missed.
But not a lot. As a result of her appearance on Newsnight earlier this evening, Dame Cheryl Baker of Streatham has become the first person to appear on every programme on British television. She beat Mike Smith by one programme when producers banned Smith from flying the helicopter on Treasure Hunt.
There was a shock on television tonight when This Is Your Life featured the veteran comedian Bernard Manning. There were no guests, friends, or acquaintances. Nobody turned up. Not a sausage.
Sport now, and former snooker star Bill Wubenick has burst. The larger-than-life Canadian filled the hexagon in Reading for the first time in his career.
And finally, it was announced today that Matthew Corbett and Sooty have split up. Corbett, that's the one without those silly black ears, blames artistic reasons, but tonight Sooty blamed hemorrhoids. That's all from us at Channel 49 News. Now a look at the weather.
Well, as you can see, as a further result of the greenhouse effect, we lost East Anglia at 2 o'clock this morning. More about that in Sports Night tomorrow night. And we lost another 200 square miles of the Antarctic today, and the resultant anticyclone has brought some unsettled weather. Tomorrow will begin bright, apart from Kathy Taylor on TVAM. And then some heavy dark rain clouds will move in from the west and quite likely knock some of these lovely white fluffy clouds out of the way and hurt a few of them quite a lot. Fog will return to Scotland after getting totally lost in the contraflow system around Newcastle. And light showers will continue to follow in behind this nasty dark cloud coming in from Ireland. Now, some of these clouds are going to get very wet and consequently very angry indeed. So here's a summary of the weather, but don't feel too depressed. We've just heard from Kylie Minogue's Skippy. It's chucking it down on Venus. There's no way back for them, I'll tell you that now. Many years ago, in the land of Yo-Ho-Ho, nasty Desmond dark cloud began to grow and grow. Such a stroppy cloud was Desmond, pushing others out the way, till he came to rest off Ireland, to the west of Galway Bay. A huffer and a puffer of unquestionable doubt. Desmond, just like Oliver Reed, like putting it about. And that's what he'll do tomorrow if this weather forecast's true. He'll shove this lovely fluffy cloud from the Isle of Man to Crewe. Your bit now. Nasty, nasty Desmond, you filthy rotten cloud. Shove off back to Yo-Ho-Ho, we hate you, yelled the crowd. Now, friendly Freddy Fluffy Cloud, who down near Worthing sat, despite his size and lack of strength, was having none of that. He crept up on Desmond Dark Cloud from the unsuspecting south, and when Desmond wasn't looking, he smacked him in the mouth. Desmond started crying, taken by surprise, and all the rivers flooded with the tears from Desmond's eyes. Oh. Nasty, nasty Desmond, you filthy rotten cloud. Shove off back to Yo-Ho-Ho, we hate you, yelled the crowd. The thunder roared, the lightning flashed. As dark cloud turned real stroppy. And over here, where Yarmouth used to be, the sea got really choppy. But then, friendly Freddy Fluffy Cloud, he blew with all his might, till finally, eureka, he blew Desmond out of sight. All the seas went calm again. The sun came out on high. Desmond Dark Cloud sat defeated in a corner of the sky. Down here, he cried, near Dover, which will probably explain to all you living down in Kent why it's pissing down with rain. Do you remember back in the 20th century when people used to go on coach trips? Well, this should jog your memory. So, roll up, I jolly well did. All on board to, well, who knows? Because that's the magic of a mystery tour, isn't it? Where were we going? Now, the regulars, the old hands of this sort of thing, didn't actually seem too bothered. The driver would explain, they said. Driver, let's not have a vote on that one. Seriously, let's see what he has to say. Morning, driver.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome you aboard this Midsummer mystery tour. We won't tell you where we're going. It's going to be a surprise, of course. But of course, at the moment, we're heading north out of Weymouth. Very soon, we pick up the new bypass. Nice bypass. You enjoy looking at it.
All this way to see a bloody bypass. Yeah, a bit lippy, I know, but I expected more than the Weymouth bypass on a mystery tour, do you know what I mean? Still, it's early days, it can only get better, can't it? Well, here we are then, my first ever mystery tour. My first ever coach trip. Alan Wicker gets all the bloody good jobs. We just left Weymouth. It's a mystery tour because the driver's got a mask over his face. We'll have a wander around now and talk to some of the people. I'm sure most of them on holiday. Here we are. They're in Laos. You're on honeymoon. No. You are, aren't you?
No.
Where do you think we're going today?
Knowing you, probably the big giant, the fertility giant up on the hill.
Oh, you've heard about me. I didn't know that's Jim Davies. So what makes you come on something like this? Do you do a lot of coach trips and all that?
We do a lot of coach trips on holiday, but it's the madness bit that intrigues me.
Yeah, I'm going that's what I hear. Where we going mackerel fishing or what? Let's have a little fight along here. Morning?
Morning.
Morning. Yeah, my first mystery tour. Do you do a lot of coach trips and things?
I'm going to go on holiday, yeah, we do.
2 weeks. 2 weeks? Are you on holiday?
Yeah.
Oh, where'd you come from?
Surrey. Morden in Surrey.
Malden?
In Surrey.
Oh, yeah. I do.
Do you?
I do, yeah. It's one of the places they still let me work. I don't know where we're going.
No, no, mystery's better, isn't it? Not to know.
Have a nice time, won't you?
Yeah, thank you.
And if it's Chessington Zoo, don't get out the coach because they're
Oh,
stop
no.
taking. Longest day, 21st of June in deepest Dorset. It was boiling hot as we ran along the coast to Devon. Do you know, perhaps we would be using our earrings for mackerel fishing after all. And then we turn a corner and wallop, Lyme Regis. Now that's where Meryl Streep walked the harbour wall in The French Lieutenant's Woman. I suppose you remember that film, do you? No, neither did I. My missus loved it, though. Jeremy Irons, that's why. Mind you, that Meryl Streep's all right. They said it was quiet. It's a bit busy to me. I think there's something going on here. It's gone mad.
All the afternoon here, we leave here.
Well, it certainly looked that way, didn't it? Christmas Day on June the 21st. The old town seemed pissed to me. If that's the case, perhaps old Santa could guide me to a boozer for a glass of port and a nice mince pie. Hello, Santa.
Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Have a good day.
I will.
Have a good day.
I'll find out what's going on. Still on the booze or what? Yeah, sure.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, my dear.
Merry Christmas,
Happy Christmas to you. What's all this about?
It's Christmas Day. The weather's better, isn't it?
Right, much nicer. Yeah, it's June the 21st though. What's happening?
Well, they're going to shut our hospital. Well, they want to shut it, but we're not going to let them do it. So we thought we'd raise lots of money and make this Christmas Day for the visitors. All the shops are dressed up, big Christmas tree, carol singers, town band. Great, isn't it?
It's brilliant. Brilliant. The whole town into it?
The whole town's entered into it, raising a lot of money for us. All the shopkeepers have dressed their windows. One of the estate agents, all the staff are dressed up as Father Christmas, booking their turkeys in the butcher's shop now for Christmas Day. And the kids from the local school are out singing carols in the street all afternoon. And this afternoon we've got a children's Christmas parade. Santa Claus and his grotto coming down through the town, going to a Rupert Bear pantomime.
I never knew Santa Claus had a Dorset accent.
Well, he's a man of many talents, this one, isn't he?
Nice to see you. Is the whole town mad then?
Totally. You've got to be, haven't you? But it's a great way of raising money, and we're going to save our hospital doing it.
Brilliant. Tell you what, next year, June the 21st, come and celebrate Christmas at Lyme Regis with these bunch of nutters.
stars will shine forever through classic songs like Elton John's on Marilyn Monroe. Well, if I had the skill, if I had the inspiration, there's one more twinkling star up there that wouldn't lose its glow. 1924 was when the world first saw a genius, the likes of which they'd never seen before. A television treasure who buckled with the pressure. But when we watch what's on these days, we miss him all the more. In case you haven't guessed, I'll give you his address. The railway cuttings, 23 upon the door. Hancock was his name, and only Tony Hancock could take just half an hour, make it last forevermore. He thought it was so harmful to give blood by the armful. Everyone remembers those immortal words he said. Hancock was the master of taking a disaster and making it a story that would make you laugh instead. Like the Mayday call, neighbors banging on the wall, a message from a drowning man not getting through at all. No situation can rock Tony Aloysius Hancock, for he at 23, the railway cuttings life was cruel. Like the time he went away on 2 weeks holiday, crates of milk and papers uncollected by the door. Hancock was his name, and only Tony Hancock could take just half an hour, make it last forevermore. He flew off to Australia, where East Cheam was to sadly seen, a million miles from home. All those hours of pleasure, and all those things we treasure, despite it all they say, Tony Hancock died alone. In 1968, on the 24th of June, the final curtain closed on a genius too soon. But every time we say a pint of blood's an armful, that star up in the sky is shining brighter than the moon. So I thought I'd write this song to let you know the story, to tell you of a hero if you didn't know before. Hancock was his name, and only Tony Hancock could take just half an hour, make it last forevermore.
I'm not working hard enough.
Where are you going?
I'll show you where. Come on.
At Barclays, the money you save goes to work. Millions of people save with Barclays. In fact, we have twice as many savers as borrowers, and more ways to save than you ever thought. If you want your money to do more work, then we believe you're better off saving with Barclays.
This is the man who put his money on odds, and it came up evens, who backed Liverpool and Arsenal while in the last minute. Luckily, this is the man with an Express Millionaires Club card. Start playing in tomorrow's Sunday Express and you could win £1 million. £1 million. Don't miss your chance in tomorrow's Sunday Express.
Look out for the new look in TV Times rather this week. You could win a fabulous £50,000 home in France, plus a brand new Peugeot 309. Astrologer Russell Grant returns to startle you with news from the stars. A special page just for kids by Floella Benjamin. Julie Andrews reveals her views on motherhood and musicals. It's all in TV Times this week.
Introducing a new range of frozen meals. Lasagna made with prime beef, layers of pasta and mozzarella cheese. Specially selected vegetables in a traditional curry served with delicately spiced pilau rice. Believe it or not, you've just been watching the calories. New Weight Watchers from Heinz frozen meals. Taste, not waste.
Yes to the 16 bells, but don't worry about the ABS. I shan't.
Now, as you probably know, I ain't really done a lot of telly lately. I ain't done no Jimmy Tarbucks or Des O'Connors or nothing like that. I didn't even do the Palladium this season. Well, there's no point. I muck it up when I do it, really, don't I? Anyway, no, I've actually stayed out of the way because I like doing these specials. You know, you get an hour to have a good laugh and all that stuff, so you don't really need to do the other ones, really, not too often, do you know what I mean? So what I've been doing, just to sort of pay the bills while I haven't been doing no telly, is I've been doing a thing called private function work. Now, let me tell you what that is, because you probably don't know. A private function is not what you do in the bathroom every morning for 5 minutes. It's something completely, well, I don't anyway. It's something completely different to that. It's when you're booked by a company, you know, and they're having a do. It's either a dinner and dance or they're launching a new product or something like that. And they book a bit of cabaret to come along, you know, on this sort of prestigious evening. Now, it's normally held, as you probably know, most of you have probably been to one in a hotel, and it's very flash, big round tables and serviettes and all that sort of stuff. And they sort of start about 7:30 or something like that, eat till about 8:30, then drink brandy till midnight, and I go on at 1 and have a really good time, as you can imagine. Anyway, that's basically what a private function is. Now, the last one I did before I got rehearsing for this was for a company called Panasonic, which is fair enough, but instead of having it in a hotel, like most people would, they decided to be really sort of offbeat and have it at Madame Tussauds in London. Now, I haven't been to Madame Tussauds since I was a little boy. And I went on, you know, on a coach with the school, probably the same as many of you. And when I got there, it started sort of reminiscing a little bit. Remember the copper in the foyer that everyone goes and talks to, especially the silly Americans, remember him? And then you go upstairs, and there's a room called either the Grand Hall or the Great Hall, I don't know which. And in this big hall, we've got all the royal family and all the heads of state from different countries. Not real ones, dummies like, you know, Madame Tussauds. And they're all sort of round the corners and all that. And in the middle bit are the reps from Panasonic. Now, that may seem all right to you, because, you know, under normal circumstances it would be. But when you do this job and the lights go down and you get that big spotlight in your eye, you can't see nothing. If you do amateur dramatics, you'll know this. You stand up on a stage like this, like a bleeding rabbit on the motorway, you can't see nothing. So, we've got the Queen over here, Prince Philip next to her, then we've got Prince Charles. He's a nice bloke, met him a couple of times, tell you about old wingnut later on, he's all right. And the Princess Diana over here. Next to Princess Diana is Princess Anne. She's there. Mark Phillips was over there. And all round are the heads of state, right, from all the different countries. When the lights went down, I couldn't tell the dummies from the people working for Panasonic, you see. I just couldn't tell. They were all silhouettes. I gave this bloke a rollicking for not singing. It was President Kennedy. What's worse was Colonel Gaddafi was singing. Anyway, I hope I ain't got no dummies here tonight because, you know, we use the audience a lot in my show, so we're going to have a little mooch around and see who we've got. It's a bit of a lottery, really, because the trouble with this job is the tickets for these sort of shows are free, so you get any old rabble in, I'll tell you that now. So it's, you know, you never really know. See all these worried faces going, oh, no. He ain't going to pick on me, is he? Yeah, mate, right, scruffy sod, put your jacket back. Right, now then, here's a man you probably remember from the last special I did, and he was, at the time, an unsuspecting member of the audience. And anyone remember Mike Payne, the tax inspector? The cartoonist? Yeah, well, here he is. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Payne. Now then, let me tell you what happened. As I say, last year Mike was just an unsuspecting member of the audience, and I picked on him, and he turned out to be working for the Inland Revenue, right, as a tax inspector. My bloody luck, as if I don't get them enough coming round my house, do you know what I mean? And there he was in the audience. And it transpired he was also a fine cartoonist and illustrator. And you remember he did some lemming sort of cartoons and all that sort of stuff for us, and it was absolutely fantastic. And I'm very pleased to say that he sort of chucked it in. He chucked in the Inland Revenue and became a cartoonist, which is brilliant. So if everybody who had their own shows, like me, had a tax inspector on as a guest, we wouldn't have none left, would we? It'd be a much happier world all round. Anyway, Mike, it's nice to see you again.
Andrew.
A few months have passed.
Yes, yes.
What have you been up to? Have you been having a good time?
I've been having a fantastic time, yeah. Very, very busy, and commissions keep rolling in. It's great.
Now, I know I'm exaggerating a little bit, because it wasn't just this show that sort of preempted you going sort of full-time as a cartoonist and whatever. But it did have something to do with it, didn't it?
It did, because at the end of your last show, you had me up there and you said to the audience, you know, should he give the revenue up? And they all shouted, yes! And I think that just pushed me over the brink.
Yeah, and regrets?
No regrets. I wish I'd done it 10 years earlier.
We wish you'd bloody done it 10 years earlier. So anyway, oh, little ad-lib so early in the show, it's silly, isn't it? So have you brought any examples with you?
Yes, I
was going to say samples, but we know you're not pregnant, there's no point in you bringing them along, is there? Really?
I've done a cartoon for you.
It's not hard of West Ham, is it?
No, this was through that haven't asked for a transfer.
That's fantastic. Thanks very much. Is that for me?
That's for you.
Oh, very nice. Have you got that? Look at that. 3 West Ham players. Freeman, Harvey and Willis. I knew 3 others, but not on this show, I didn't. Right, anyway. Mike, nice to see you again, and good luck with your future career.
Thank you very much.
Right. You know, I'll tell you what, you cop that, mate. Can you give it to me later on? Yes. Smashing. I'll pick on you, then. What's your name?
Danny.
Danny? Danny?
Byron.
Danny Byron.
Yeah.
Well, what do you do for a living, then, Danny?
Sewerman. Work in the sewers. Work in the sewers.
You work in the sewers?
Yeah.
I thought it was me. Well, so you sort of... What, do you enjoy that sort of work, then? Or?
Love it, yeah.
You love it?
Yeah.
I was going to say, sort of, do you enjoy your work, or do you just go through the motions? Get it?
Yeah, just a bit.
All right. So whereabouts do you do this, then?
Well, work at Westminster Council.
Westminster?
Yeah, like, all around Trafalgar Square, Whitehall, Parliament Square, Soho.
Do you do it all, you don't do all them little side roads off Whitehall, do you?
Yeah.
I've got another coup here. You do? You do the sewerage in Downing Street?
Yeah.
You don't?
I do.
So you have to clear away everything she says. Hang on. Hang on, I'm on a roll here. Is it any different? Well, wrap up. This is very intellectual.
Just plenty of it, isn't there?
And a few gin bottles flying about as well.
Right ones, yeah.
So let's sort of picture it now. Take us down there. Sort of what size are these sort of sewers?
Well, Downing Street's 3'9".
3'9". What, round?
No, 2'6" wide, 3'9" high.
And you crawl through that?
Yeah.
Ain't there animals? And there's crocodiles and all that, isn't there? It was in America, you know.
Oh, no, there is in America. No, just plenty of rats. A few rats around here, but that's it. Yeah, lovely.
Oh, I couldn't do that. I mean, are you frightened of them?
Nah. Well, a bit, yeah, but sometimes, yeah. It's all cool when they jump out and they hit you on the leg.
And it's sort of... It ain't exactly highway, this, is it? When you... Oh, dear. Well, is it pitch black or what?
Well, Downing Street.
No, underneath it, you silly stuff.
Yeah. No, they've got, like, fluorescent tubes down Downing Street.
Yeah, so you know exactly what you're treading in. Have you sort of found anything down there?
Well, my daughter's here, but I found a wife down there.
You met your wife in a sewer?
Yeah.
What, she was just passing by, was she? And it was a marriage of convenience. Now then, you saw what we did with Mike last year on the special, and this year we made him a cartoonist and all that sort of thing. I mean, in 5 minutes that we have a natter, we could make you a star, you know, a television personality. I mean, surely that's got to be better. Wouldn't you like to sort of... I mean, how long have you been doing this?
17 years. 17 years?
Yeah.
So you've done it all your working life, basically, have you?
Well, I used to be a bus conductor.
Why did you sling in being a bus conductor to work in the London sewers?
Ah, we get better clientele down here, don't we?
Now, Danny, can I talk you out of this? I mean, would you like to be a famous television... I've got the power to do it. Would you like to be a famous television personality?
No chance. No. I like it. It's just a good job, isn't it?
You love it, do you?
Yeah, lovely. Pension at the end of it.
Do you earn good dough?
Well, overtime you do. You get time and a third.
Oh, hang on, no. I bet that's one of your gags. You tell all your mates in the pub, and you're well lined up. Yeah. Anyway, Dad, I'm sorry I can't persuade you to do this, but what a good sport, eh? Danny Byron from the London Sewers. Right. Now, as I was saying with Mike Payne there, those excellent cartoons he did, he managed to sling it in on revenue, thank God. And Danny, who I tried desperately to talk into slinging it all in, mind you, poking your nose in other people's business, I suppose he quite enjoys that. Have a look at this face. Can you recognise it? You're probably none the wiser, but I want to introduce you to a young lady by the name of Carol Hersey. Now, Carol's obviously a little bit nervous. She doesn't do television normally, but I've dragged her along tonight for you to meet because she's been on television thousands of times. In fact, she's been on television more times than the rest of all of us in television put together. So, Carol, who are you?
I'm the girl on the test card.
There you are. Carol Hersey is the little girl on the test card. Look, you've met her in real life. There she is. And that was you. Was that you on the left, wasn't it? Yeah. So now this really interests me because I always thought you were blurred. That sort of green sort of kind of... Okay. So, Carol, how did all this begin? It's obviously a few years ago. I'm not being rude about your age or anything, but it was a few years, wasn't it? How old were you then?
7.
You were 7 years old. And how... I mean, it must be really the most famous face, mustn't it, on television today, and certainly in the history of British television. How did it come about? I mean, did you just audition or what?
No, my father was helping to design the colour test card for when colour television came in.
Yeah.
And they photographed my sister and I was chosen.
So how many years ago would that be?
22.
Did you honestly think that you would be on the test card for that long?
No.
No. I mean, you must have been on thousands and thousands and thousands of times, mustn't you?
I'd hate to think how many hours it could be.
So, tell me about the other things, because there's a clown involved in that picture as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I've got
now,
him here.
That's right. Here we have. Look at this. Look.
It's a bit worse
Can you
to wear.
see? Look. The original clown from the test card. Look. One thing, though, surely with such obviously a classy beginning in show business, you could have gone on to do other things, but in actual fact, you shunned show business, didn't you? Since then, you've never been on camera since, have you?
Not really, no.
And it was very hard to get you to come on this show to talk as well, because you've got a very nice, quiet life and away from all this, and you don't really want to know about it, really, do you?
No.
No. Now then, there's one big regret for you, isn't there? Is because although Carol has shunned all this, as I rightly said there, she had the greatest accolade of all time in show business because she's along with Gorbachev and President Reagan and Margaret Thatcher. Carol, you were a spitting image puppet. Weren't you? That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you missed it.
I missed it, yes. I was
never saw-
talking to my mother on the telephone.
And you never saw it?
I missed it.
Well, I've got a little surprise for you. You watch the monitor.
Where am I going to find someone to replace him?
This is Nicholas Mitchell for the 6 o'clock news in the Star.
They didn't get a very good likeness, really, did they, to be honest?
No.
Still, there you are, the ultimate in acclaim in British show business to appear on Spitting Image. And for a young lady who shunned it all those years ago as a test card girl. Ladies and gentlemen, Carol Hersey. Right, and from one young lady to 3 young ladies who are joining us from down under, something that Daniel know all about, that's for sure. Would you give a big British welcome to the fabulous Singlets?
Singlets, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
When you choose a toothpaste for your family, does it give maximum fluoride protection? Does it actually toughen teeth on the outside? Does it help fight plaque with regular brushing? And does it have a taste the whole family actively enjoys? In fact, does it have an answer to all these needs? If it's new signal, it does.
If a picture paints 1,000 words, then why can't I paint you?
New Sheba, lovingly prepared to make sure those tender pieces of meat taste as fresh as the day they were cooked.
Then you and I would simply fly away.
It's a sad fact that too many small businesses fold in their first year. So if you're starting a new business, pop into NatWest and talk to our small business advisor. You'll find one in every high street branch. Today, NatWest helps start up more small businesses than any other bank. Get off to a good start with NatWest, the Action Bank.
Some men like sticky buns or a sarnie, and others like nuts in a bar. But me, I get pent up if my snack ain't all bent up. So unzip me a nice banana.
Unzip a banana today.
This is the Channel 49 News Update, brought to you by Skoda, Europe's leading manufacturer of nuclear power stations.
The greenhouse effect continues to dominate the country and the news, with more and more of Britain disappearing beneath the sea. In the Midlands, a team of divers who left Coventry Harbour only last week believe they have discovered the fabled lost city of Peterborough. Unfortunately. Also, geologists believe they may have found oil. The company has been drilling from a floating rig in the Bay of Leeds and has been rather surprised by the purity of their strike. A spokesman for the oil company said it could be a major find, but on the other hand, we may just have hit a filling station on the Doncaster bypass.
And bad news for holidaymakers travelling abroad from the Milton Keynes ferry terminal. Industrial action means there are no ferries available to take passengers across the sea to the entrance of the Channel Tunnel on Dover Island.
A further example of the so-called greenhouse effect was seen this afternoon when a polar bear by the name of Porky won the Grand National at Aintree. Congratulations to those backers who found they were sitting on a mint. And well done to Porky, who caught a magnificent salmon at the water jump.
And excitement is running at fever pitch in London as preparations continue for the Pope's planned visit to the capital. While he's in Britain, the Pontiff will address mass crowds in Canterbury and York, while his wife does a bit of shopping.
It's now confirmed that Anglesey is under complete siege from the Luxembourg army. King Charles, wishing to keep the island's sheep under British sovereignty, said today, "I counted them out, and I counted them back in again." Queen Diana is still trying to wake him up.
And now the budget, and surprising news from 11 Downing Street. Income tax has been abolished completely. Chancellor of the Exchequer, Kenneth Dodd, Dodd was quoted as saying, "By Jove, what a wonderful day, what a wonderful day." And blow me if they haven't raised the price of French letters. It really is enough to make you sling it all in.
Or not, whichever the case may be. Sport now, and England football manager Vinnie Jones has come under fire again, following his team's 10-0 trouncing by New Guinea.
Jones turned up at the press conference to face a barrage of criticism. Jones replied by saying, "Bollocks to the lot of you." greeted the football correspondent of the Times and stormed out.
And finally, a piece of good news regarding the greenhouse effect. Britain's had its finest crop of cucumbers for over 200 years. Well, there you are. You see, that's what the news may look like in 30 years' time, but if you've seen the shows before, you know that I really like talking about things in the past, the things we all remember. The sherbet lemons, the three-wheeler bikes with the boot on the back you put stones in, the things we talked about on the last special. A good new one is plimsolls. Do you remember being really embarrassed and saddened when your mum used to come home with a pair of plimsolls? But not the ones you wanted, the ones that had that dirty great big bit of elastic going across the top. You remember that with a shiny toe cap? It was really hard to be an hard nut in the playground at East Ham with a pair of elasticated plimsolls on. An idiot mitten. With a string going through the arms of your duffel coat. Wiping your nose with one and getting smacked in the mouth with the other. Anyway, if any of that means anything to you, I've written the definitive Remember song. There's 100 of them, and you can video it and count them if you don't believe me. Right, here we go then. This is called 100 Remembers. You've heard me talk of the things I recall, things I remember from when I was small. Sherbet lemons all stuck in a bunch, cutting the roof of your mouth as you crunch. You remember that? Oh. Things you remember forever and ever from days when we all went to school. Sherbet lemons, one thing I recall, but has anyone here ever wondered of the things you remember from when you were small? Do you think you could think of 100? I've just mentioned one thing I remember, one down, 99 more to go. Here we go then. See how many of these you got. There were fruit salads, blackjacks and marshmallow shrimps, jubblies, bazookas and spangles and imps, the kid in the class who spoke with a lisp, and boxes of rocks on November the 5th. The Saturday classified pink with the scores. Dad checking his homes, his aways and his drawers. Knocked down ginger, banging on doors. Does anyone remember love hearts? Yes, the old love hearts. Weren't they great? You used to give them to people you fancied in the playground, do you remember? And they used to have little messages on with words that no one used in real life, like, hi, chum. My fondest. I like you. They never had, I suppose, a good scene too around the back of the bike sheds is out of the question. Which is a shame, because it would have made the sweets a lot bigger. Tortoises sleeping in cupboards for months and catching the chicken pox, measles and mumps. Dennis the menace and Corky the cat, desperate Dan in his 10-gallon hat. Pineapple chunks and strawberry pips, kissing a girl who you love on the lips. Bottles of ties are all taking sips and washing up bowls full of tadpoles. Do you remember trying to grow frogs? We used to go to Wanstead Flats, the sort of green area of the East End, and we used to get as much frog spawn as we could, and we used to take it home and put it in jelly moulds. And we made the only pineapple-flavoured floppy-eared frogs in the whole... Do you remember black and white television? None of this nonsense. Do you remember when it was black and white? Do you remember trying to be flash and making it colour by putting a Quality Street wrapper up to your eyes? And watching the Lone Ranger in purple. Or green if you like coconut. Do you remember that? Danger Man was terribly hip, like 77 Sunset Strip. No hiding place, Dixon too. Captain Pugwash and Mr. Magoo. Remember how his sights were short. Here's an insignificant fault. How come the fugitive never got caught after all them years on the run? And so that the barber could cut your hair, you sat on a plank on the arms of a chair. The barber said to the grown-up men, is there something you need for the coming weekend? Shut my lawnmower while I'm in here, I suppose. A packet of 3 they usually said, which went completely over my head till I got Jennifer Lawson in bed, and I could have done with one then. 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4. Remember that? 5 potato, 6 potato, 7 potato. Do you remember spud guns? In East Ham, we were rougher than anywhere else. Used to have sawn-off spud guns. Palm
Tom Toppies and Scooby-Doos, and Reginald Bosun kept reading the news. The Animals' House of the Rising Sun, a 5-minute single at #1. Parma violets and jamboree bags, round the bike sheds puffing at fags, and flashy cars like E-Type Jags, though we only had a Cortina. Down to the Army and Navy store for things that were worn in the Second World War. Duffel bags, duffel coats, idiot mittens with string round our throats. Sooty and sweet beyond our ken, the Michelin Man and Bill and Ben. Do you remember conkers when you made them hard in the oven? Shame it don't work on other things, really, never mind. Flying saucers and licorice wood, William Tell and Robin Hood, the Dandy, the Beano, the Beezer as well, Bing Crosby going well on shell. Putting a tiger in your tank, watching Tales of the Riverbank, and Rin Tin Tin and Lassie and Hank and Parker and Lady Penelope. And do you remember Packets of Tide, where you were when Kennedy died? Tiger nuts and sherbet dips, collecting cards from PG Tips, penny bangers and tuppenny chews, Elvis Presley in GI Blues. Do you remember sensible shoes, and do you remember cream soda? These are the things that I recall, things I remember from when I was small. You can think of your own ones and all, 'cause I have just give you 100.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's your lot tonight. See you next time.